to my channel, Narc. My name is Jennifer. It is so good to have you back. And if this is your first time, I just want you to know that I am a narcissistic abuse survivor, and I do talk about narcissism here on this channel. And so I'm welcoming all of you back and welcoming you for the first time. Thank you so much for being here. I am supporting you, and you are also supporting me, so thank you so much. I hope that you will support my channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. This really does help my channel to grow, and I do appreciate it. I really need you, so I am going to ask for your help. So thank you so much. So I wanted to do a video on what it would be like for a narcissist during the COVID-19 quarantine. And so I'm not going to go into complete detail of how it goes. There's lots of people who have talked about it, but I thought that I would give my own thoughts on it. So for a narcissist needs narcissistic supply all the time, or fuel, whatever you want to call it. That is to fill them up, because there's this inner void inside of them, and they need to fill it at all times to keep the demons at bay, because that's their self-doubt. Those are the negative feelings that they would have about themselves that would be coming out about them if they were to be on their own and not have narcissistic supply. So it is extremely important for a narcissist to have constant narcissistic supply so that they can feel powerful and in control, popular. There are different types of narcissists, so that does kind of change things a little bit. Bottom line, all narcissists need narcissistic supply. So what happens if a narcissist has to go into isolation on their own? Well, narcissism isn't always like so easy to detect. So you would notice things, manipulative tactics, if you were more aware on how a narcissist would combat certain things. They do feel special. They are rule breakers. They do feel like they are the ones who makes the rules. So it's like a game all the time, and the rules are always changing depending on what the narcissist needs in that moment. So it doesn't really matter what is being told. So basically for us, if the president or your governor comes on and tells you what the rules are, the narcissist is going to, if it doesn't work out for them and their lifestyle, they're going to laugh at it. They're going to be smarter. They're going to know better. They're going to come up with their own ideas of how they would have done things. Now, I know a lot of people did that. Again, we all have narcissistic traits. And I know a lot of people were questioning how things were done and saying, maybe it should have been done this way or that way, whatever their beliefs were. Bottom line, it comes down to someone told us what the rules were, and are you going to follow them or not? So a lot of times you think of integrity in your character, or how do you act when nobody else is watching you? Do you follow the rules or do you break the rules? Do you try to get away with things when nobody is watching? Are you, and then in front of people, act like you are doing what you're supposed to do? Are you someone who is trying to break the rules? Are you with someone who is always trying to break the rules and then wanting you to, and trying to convince you that what you're doing is stupid, or make you feel uncomfortable about the choices that you have made? Because a narcissist, if once they make their decision, they want everybody else to feel the same way that they do, because they're smarter, they're special, and people should be listening to them because they know better. So in these times, it makes it quite difficult. A narcissist does not want to be by themselves, and they certainly don't want to be stuck. And they don't want to be stuck with the same source of supply the entire time. They may need that source of supply and like that source of supply some of the time, but 24/7, 100% of the time, absolutely not. That drives them crazy. That isn't okay with them. So what would a narcissist do? Well, I've said in other videos that this would be a time where obviously for all of us though, online is going to be very important for narcissistic people. And all of us, we need the internet right now to socialize. And so a narcissist may use it even more. And they're also not going to follow the rules. So like most narcissistic people, they're still going to want to see people. So if they are cheating, they would maybe try to get other people to meet with them, maybe the people that they're having the affair with, or just try to meet up and have liaisons outside of the home, so that makes them feel even more powerful. It's like, I'm getting away with something, ha ha ha, look, and I'm okay. And look how stupid everybody else is trying to follow that stupid rule that's out there. And I'm out here still living my life and doing my life exactly the way I want to do it. Now, a narcissist will have narcissistic injuries if they are trying to break the rules and they go to do that and somebody is telling them that they can't break the rules. They're going to want to blame shift, deflect, come up with excuses. What do you mean I can't do that? This is really stupid. They don't care about anybody else. They only care about themselves. Who gives a crap if somebody else is going to get sick? I'm super healthy. I'm fine. Never mind that thought. Just does not. You can try to convince somebody and try to explain to them that you can be a carrier of COVID-19 and have no symptoms whatsoever, but give it to someone else, such as your partner, your children, your grandmother, your parents, whatever. You can try your coworkers. You can try to convince them of that, and they're still going to make the excuses of the only people that are going to get sick are the people who are elderly or the people that are compromised. Okay, but they could die. Well, they would be the ones that would die first anyway. They're going to come up and say things like this. And if you're an empathic person, you're blown away by it. This is their logic. They're like, this is how it is. You may hear things like, a lot of people said this, the elderly and the sick should have been the ones that stayed home while the rest of us went out, and we needed to get used to this virus and build up our immune system against this virus. And I've heard so many different things. And that is something that people will want to debate when this is all over with their government officials on how to handle things the next go round. And I'm sure the government officials have been talking about that as well. But during it, there's still rules in place. There have been rules that have been put in place. So you're going to have people who will fight that. They will buck up against those rules because it's uncomfortable for them. They feel controlled and they don't want to be controlled. They don't want power over them. They need to be heard. They have a right to be heard, and they may buck the system. And in doing so, put other people in danger, because in those moments, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about they have a right to speak. They are, they're fighting for something completely different at this point. And so that's a deflection. So they try to deflect away from what we should be coming together and working together on. And this is like, it would be a narcissistic trait. I'm not saying everybody is a narcissist, okay? But it's a narcissistic trait. It's like, I want to deflect away from that, and I want you to focus on my rights, or and I understand all of that too. So I'm not saying I'm against or for, I'm just giving examples. And it could make some people really uncomfortable, and, a narcissist, it would give them a narcissistic injury and they'd be furious and go into a rage over it and completely paint me black and call me all kinds of names just because I'm talking about it and giving examples. When I give examples, you never really know. exactly where I land on that. I'm not always giving my what I think, but I am giving examples. And so this would be an example of, let me fight for something completely different. Yes, you're asking me to help fight and help save lives by staying home and trying to get this virus to slow down so that it doesn't spread anymore. Instead, I want to go out and take my chances, and I want to fight for my rights as a human being, as a U.S. citizen. And so they aren't thinking about how they could maybe make somebody else sick. They're thinking about that. That's what's important to them. And that becomes the focus. And it is a deflection away from the virus. I'm not saying I don't understand those things. I'm just saying that I believe that the time to, my personal opinion really is the time to do that would be after all of this is over with. And hopefully that we all did what we needed to do to take care of everybody. Because I see it kind of like, I mean, everybody has their own opinions. And so here's mine. But in a way, I'm like, okay, so if we went to war, you would want the people in the military to do what they're told to help save us and help with taking care of us. And they're out there on the front lines doing that. And so it's not necessarily war in that way, but it is a war on a virus. And so it's almost like you're on the front lines and asked, hey, look, you are part of the military and we need you to help save lives. And so you might not necessarily agree with how it's being gone about, but you go ahead and you do it because you're fighting for your country, your people, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm explaining things very well, but a narcissist is going to see it as they're going to take it to a whole nother level. And they may even completely just ignore it altogether. And a sociopath type person would see it as, haha, look, I'm getting away with it. I'm not getting caught. I'm not being put in jail. I'm not being fined. And look at you, you're still struggling and I'm not. I'm living life just as the way I want to. And they're feeling powerful about it. It's narcissistic supply. It feels really good to them. They're feeling omnipotent. I can hardly ever say that word. And then you have the people that are the rule followers who are maybe thinking, when this is all over, I would have probably done this differently, and I want to put my 2 cents in later when this is over. May not really like what's really going on, may be uncomfortable. It would be something like, even like this, like I was talking about this, where a narcissist would do something like, okay, so like they would continue to work in some way, make money, but still try to get unemployment. And then there would be people who really needed the unemployment, who are having a hard time getting unemployment, but the narcissist doesn't care. I'm going to milk this the best way I can. I'm going to get anything and everything I can out of this because I deserve it. And who cares about the people who are having a hard time getting it? I don't care if they suffer. That's how they're going to go about things. It's not like they're going to come right out and say it that way, but that's what they're thinking. That's how they're feeling, and that's why they do it. So it is narcissistic traits. Again, having narcissistic personality disorder, I mean, you have to go and do extensive therapy to get diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and there's a lot of things that go with that. You have to look at your background, your history, your patterns. There's a lot that goes on with it, and your traits, and you have to have 5 or more on the psychological DSM to have narcissistic personality disorder. But it doesn't mean that you're not narcissistic or that you're around people that are and have high narcissistic traits. And again, we all have them. We all have narcissistic traits, and it's what gets us up and goes to work. It's what, makes us clean our house. And, and so there's healthy narcissism, and then there's unhealthy narcissism. But when you are around narcissistic people, they will demean you and make you feel bad. So, example. So if I am with this COVID-19 following the rules, a narcissistic person who isn't following the rules would basically slip in little things and say little things that would try to make me feel bad about my decision or question my decision. Am I making the right choices? Maybe I should be doing that too. I mean, it has been going on for a really long time. Maybe they know something that I don't. They try to get you to do that because it makes them feel better about the decision that they've made, and they try to pull people onto their other side. So I have an example of something like that where people will try to change other people's minds. And in a state of panic and anxiety, and a narcissist knows how to confuse people, they can sometimes bring people over to the other side and change people, and people can, their narcissistic traits then will come out and show their ugly selves. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I just wanted to give a little bit of an example of how a narcissist, they're not going to deal with isolation. They cannot be on their own. They're going to need their phones. They're going to need their computers. They're going to need to be talking to lots of people. They're going to definitely be giving their opinions, and their opinions can change on a dime. So, you know what, if they wanted to be talking to one person and say, hey, look, it does work for them, and they want to say, that, let's just say that the government is doing the right thing, and it works for them in that moment to get whatever their need is, they're going to say that. And then in the next moment, they could say something else. And so you could be somebody who's really close to them and in an intimate relationship with them, let's just say, and you hear them going back and forth like that, and you're like, who the heck is this person? And you might even question them. Like you said to Susie Joe over, the other day that and you said to me even that you didn't know. And then they're gonna word salad you and try to confuse you. I didn't say that. What I said was, you just misunderstood. I mean, are you stupid? They'll devalue you and do all kinds of things to deflect and blame shift and get it back off, where you'll sit there and walk away and go, I know damn well he told Susie Joe something. And then the next thing you know, your cognitive dissonance is messing with you, and you'll be like, did I hear that? I could have sworn I did. I can't wait to talk to Susie Joe because I need to ask Susie Joe, because honestly, I could have sworn that he said that. But then you don't want to argue with them because everything is going to get blown out of proportion. If you're in isolation with a narcissist, they are going to be all over the board. One minute you're the greatest thing that ever happened. The next minute you're going to be devalued. They're definitely not going to want to be alone. So you're going to be a source of supply. And if you are the only person that they're going to be able to be around, then you're going to be important. But they are definitely going to try to break the rules and find ways to get around the rules. And they're definitely going to voice their opinions on how the rules should be because they see it better. They're smarter than everybody else. And God knows they should be the one in position who's been making these rules. They know better. They can see it all. It's as if they are in the White House themselves. And they're not going to wait until everything is over to go and try to make changes within the government and for the next time that it happens. They're going to go out and potentially put other people in danger because they don't believe in it. And that's just how that works. They know better. They know better. So I know it's a topic that is controversial. It's definitely, everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody has a right to voice themselves. And so it really does come down to when rules are put in place and we're asked of certain things, what the integrity of the people are going to be. It does bring out a time when you can see people's character and how they would be in crisis. And so if you're not really close to these people, you can see how they react in times of crisis. and then you can judge whether these are people that you should be around on a regular basis that are good for you in your life. So anyway, until next time, this is Jennifer. I am going to go on and do a video. I'm going to do a story of my own, something that happened with me that kind of talks on this just a little bit. Until next time, bye.